Most people say they want peace. But when it arrives, something inside them tightens. Calm is not just the absence of conflict. It is the absence of stimulation the nervous system has learned to expect. If your early environment was loud, emotionally unpredictable, tense without warning, then your body calibrated itself to that rhythm. Raised voices meant attention. Distance meant danger. Silence meant something was about to happen. Over time, tension stopped feeling like threat. It became orientation. The body does not organize around what is healthy. It organizes around what is familiar. So when conflict disappears, the system does not celebrate. It scans. Where is it? What am I missing? Why is it quiet? Calm can feel like exposure, not because it is unsafe, but because it removes the structure that once helped you predict your environment. Conflict creates rhythm. Rhythm creates anticipation. Anticipation creates control. When someone grows up inside volatility, they become skilled at reading microsignals. Tone shifts, facial tension, the slight pause before escalation. That hyper-awareness becomes identity. It becomes competence. And calm takes that competence away. Without tension, there is nothing to manage, nothing to fix, nothing to monitor. And that can feel destabilizing, because if you are not regulating chaos, who are you? Conflict can function as a nervous system anchor. It gives the body something to brace against, something to prepare for. Preparation feels powerful. Stillness feels uncertain. There is a subtle anxiety in environments that are stable. Not dramatic anxiety, not panic, just a low hum. A sense that something is incomplete. When no one is upset, you might feel restless. When no problem exists, you might begin searching for one. Not consciously. The mind will generate small interpretations, tiny irritations, ambiguous comments that can be misread, because ambiguity is uncomfortable and tension is clear. The nervous system prefers a known threat over an unknown space. Known threat has rules. Unknown calm does not. This is where the pattern begins, not with anger, not with drama, but with discomfort in silence. Some people do not recreate conflict because they love chaos. They recreate it because chaos feels like home, and calm feels like a room with no walls. Conflict does more than create tension. It creates position. In any disagreement, roles emerge. The misunderstood one, the responsible one, the one who tries harder, the one who withdraws. These roles are not random. They are rehearsed. When conflict repeats across relationships, it is rarely about the other person. It is about preserving a familiar version of the self. Because identity needs reinforcement, and tension provides it. If you have always been the one who manages emotions, then peace removes your function. If you have always been the one who is hurt, then calm removes your narrative. Without conflict, the internal script goes quiet, and that silence can feel like erasure. We do not only attach to people, we attach to who we become around them. Conflict sharpens identity. When someone disappoints you, you become the reasonable one. When someone withdraws, you become the pursuer. When someone criticizes, you become defensive. Each reaction confirms something. I am the one who tries. I am the one who is overlooked. I am the one who holds things together. These positions create continuity. Continuity creates stability. Even if the stability is painful. A stable negative identity can feel safer than an undefined, peaceful one, because at least it is structured. Calm does not tell you who you are. It does not activate your coping strategies. It does not require performance. It just exists. And for someone whose identity formed in reaction to tension, existence without reaction feels empty. This is why certain arguments feel strangely familiar. Not pleasant, but grounding. The escalation follows a known arc. The emotional spikes are predictable. The resolution, even if temporary, restores equilibrium. Conflict becomes a cycle of identity reinforcement. Tension rises, role activates, emotion intensifies, self-concept stabilizes. Then it resets. Remove the tension, and the self has to reorganize. That reorganization feels vulnerable because it requires asking a question that conflict never allows. Who am I when nothing is wrong? Most people do not consciously protect conflict, but unconsciously, they may protect the identity that conflict sustains. And that protection can look like sensitivity, like overinterpretation, like always ending up in the same situation. Not because they want pain, but because they recognize themselves inside it. If this perspective resonates, like the video. Subscribe if you want more. No pressure, just awareness. Conflict is rarely chased directly. It is constructed indirectly. No one wakes up and decides to destabilize their own peace. The system works in smaller movements. A tone is misread, a delay is interpreted, a neutral face becomes evidence. The mind does not invent chaos from nothing. It scans for ambiguity and fills it with familiarity. If tension is familiar, ambiguity will lean in that direction. A partner is quiet after work. Instead of neutrality, the body feels distance. Distance feels like threat. Threat activates anticipation. Anticipation searches for confirmation. Did I do something? Why are they different? Something feels off. The questions are not manipulative, they are regulatory, because uncertainty is destabilizing. Certainty, even negative certainty, restores control. So the system escalates subtly. Tone sharpens. Curiosity becomes accusation. Clarification becomes interrogation. Not consciously, but predictably. The other person responds defensively. Now tension is visible. The room has shape again. The body relaxes inside the conflict because the environment is now readable. You know this terrain. You know what comes next. Repetition compulsion is not about recreating trauma for drama. It is about recreating structure for stability. When early experiences wired your nervous system around volatility, volatility becomes organizing. Peace feels abstract. Conflict feels concrete. There is also a biochemical layer. Tension activates adrenaline. Resolution activates relief. Relief can feel like intimacy. Over time, the nervous system confuses emotional intensity with connection. So calm feels distant, but argument feels close. The spike and release cycle becomes bonding. Without realizing it, some people provoke micro-conflicts to feel the reassurance that follows resolution. A sharp exchange, a brief rupture, then repair. Repair feels warm, but what they are attached to is not the repair, it is the oscillation. Notice the pattern in language. You always, you never, you don't care. These phrases escalate quickly. They force emotional activation. Activation restores familiarity. The unconscious goal is not destruction, it is regulation. Regulation through predictability, even if the predictability is painful. This is why some relationships feel intense but unstable. The instability is the stabilizer. Without it, both people feel undefined, and undefined feels unsafe. When calm enters, the system does not know where to stand, so it moves. A comment, a withdrawal, a test, until tension returns. Not because they want to suffer, but because their nervous system recognizes the rhythm, and rhythm feels like home. When conflict stops, something unexpected can surface. Not relief, emptiness. Without tension, there is no spike. Without spike, there is no crash. Without crash, there is no dramatic repair. The nervous system flattens, and flatness can feel like loss. If your body bonded through volatility, peace will not immediately register as safety. It will register as absence. Absence of stimulation, absence of intensity, absence of identity reinforcement. Who am I if I am not fixing something? Who am I if I am not bracing? Who am I if nothing is wrong? Stability removes the familiar choreography. There is no argument to prepare for, no withdrawal to decode, no rupture to repair. Just space. And space exposes what conflict concealed. Restlessness, unprocessed grief, uncertainty about self-definition. Conflict once gave structure to your days. It gave you focus. It gave you urgency. Peace gives you yourself. And that can feel unbearable. Because without external tension, internal noise becomes audible. This is the destabilizing stage, where calm feels boring, where stability feels fragile, where you almost miss the argument. Not the pain, the intensity. Intensity is stimulating. Stimulation feels alive. Aliveness feels meaningful. So the mind may attempt one last reconstruction, a subtle critique, a small complaint, a familiar trigger, testing whether the old rhythm still works. But if conflict no longer activates in the same way, something shifts. The identity that depended on tension begins to loosen. You are no longer the rescuer, or the misunderstood one, or the one constantly preparing for impact. You are simply present. Presence feels exposed at first. There is no drama to hide inside, no escalation to distract you, just regulated nervous system activity, steady breathing, ordinary conversation. Ordinary can feel unfamiliar, but unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. Over time, the system recalibrates. The body learns that quiet does not precede attack, that silence is not abandonment, that disagreement does not require escalation. Conflict becomes optional, not because you suppress it, but because you no longer need it to orient yourself. The comfort of predictable conflict dissolves when calm becomes predictable instead. And when calm becomes predictable, identity reorganizes around stability, not intensity, not volatility, stability. That shift is subtle, but it is structural. If this helped you see a pattern more clearly, consider liking the video and subscribing.